And if I'm not reading the captions, I don't have a clue what's going on. And that's what happened when I got up here earlier, so I apologize for that. I've been practicing law for 30 years. I've been deaf or hard of hearing for about 60 years. For the last 6 years, I've combined my life experience as a person with hearing loss and my professional background as a lawyer, and I have been advocating for people with hearing loss in Washington, in Oregon, and in California, using the Americans with Disabilities Act and some of our state disability laws basically as tools. And the objective of what we're trying to accomplish essentially is to bring the promises contained in those laws into the reality of our everyday lives. As far as hearing loss is concerned, that's the life I know, and so I'll be talking essentially through the prism of hearing loss. But I hope what I have to say may have some universal application and may be something in which you'll see some certain resonance in your life. 23 years ago, when Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act, it recognized that people with disabilities had been systematically and frequently excluded from community participation. The objective of the ADA is essentially to create full and equal enjoyment of public life through some form of reasonable accommodation for people with disabilities. It appears that the reason this has fallen short as often as it has not been because people are malicious and wish to exclude us. It's that they don't know any better. We're not talking about malice, we're talking about rampant cluelessness. So with all due respect to Stephen Covey, I want to talk now about 7 species of highly clueless behavior that I have run into while trying to advocate for people with hearing loss. Clueless behavior number 1, it can't be done. As I said, the Americans with Disabilities Act talks about full and equal enjoyment. When the ADA got into court, we found out that a lot of judges just are not terribly sympathetic to the ADA and the idea of full and equal enjoyment. This prompted one judge in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals to wax on about how, oh gee, we wish it could be done, but how can a person with a visual impairment ever really enjoy a sunset? How can a person with a hearing impairment ever really enjoy a symphony? I just wanted to take that guy out for a drink and slap him silly because he's confusing 2 different concepts, perception and enjoyment. Now it's true that with my hearing loss, I am never going to hear all the nuances of a symphony. But I gotta tell you, when I go to a captioned performance of a musical, and for the first time in 60 years can understand what's being said, you cannot put measure on how much I enjoy that. So let's not confuse perception and enjoyment, and let's not say it can't be done. Focus instead on what can be done. Clueless behavior number 2, it need not be done. This confuses 2 important concepts. One, what is actually happening, and the other is what brings us full and equal enjoyment. When we filed a lawsuit in the state of Washington against the movie theaters, I got a call to be on a conservative radio talk show guy's show, and I made the mistake of saying yes. And the first thing this guy said to me is, well, why don't you just wait for the captioned DVD to come out? When 2 deaf football fans sued the Washington Redskins and asked that the public address announcements at the game be captioned, the Redskins said, come on, you can see what's going on the field just like anybody else. Why do you need that? What's missing in both cases is it's not the movie, it's not the football game, it's the inclusion, it's the community. If you just want to know what's happening at a football game, you can stay home and watch it on television. It's warmer, it's drier, and the beer is a lot cheaper. But you go because you want to be part of a community experience. And in order to be included in the community, you need to know what is going on. And so you need to know what is being said, what is being sung, what is happening in all these various dimensions that As the court once observed about the Redskins, you do this for a reason. And if it's good enough for people who can hear, it's good enough for people who can't hear. What we discovered when the University of Oregon started doing scoreboard captioning of its football games, very interesting. We went down to Eugene last year after football.